right, no delay. We are getting right into this. We have been waiting long enough for James Gunn's announcement for the future of the DCU. He has a video presentation, so we're going to check that out first and see what he has to say. All right, guys, let's do this.
Hey, everybody, I'm James Gunn. I'm the co-CEO of DC Studios. So as many of you know, DC has been disconnected in film and television for a long time. And it's one of our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation. That the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story. And if something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker or Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds, outside of the mainstream DCU continuity. Now, Peter and I have been pretty lucky in terms of the 4 projects that are coming out over the next year. First, we have Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love that resets the entire DC universe. Then to move into Blue Beetle, a fantastic film about a kid who's a marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects, which I'm going to tell you about now. So, Peter and I...
Okay. So, I mean, I still think it's a pretty hardcore reboot, but maybe some of these movies are taking place in the DCU. Well, okay, let's see.
A group of very talented writers have started to map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television, and gaming. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. Now, what I'm about to tell you, is a part of the first chapter. It's not the entire The first project is Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's
really
different at DC is we're going to
So he's already done.
Move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them in live action. The next project up is Waller. This is a story of Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. Viola Davis is going to team up with members of Team Peacemaker, and this is a story that's been created by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol. It is a fantastic story that's out of this world, and I can't wait for people to see it. Okay. Next up is the big one, the true beginning of the DCU. This
Superman.
is called Superman Legacy.
Yeah.
This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it. And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025. Okay, the next thing is a big premiere
2025
television series called Lanterns. This is a story of a couple of Green Lanterns, Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, and we have a few other Lanterns peppered in there. But this is a terrestrial-based TV show, which is almost like True Detective, with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it,
love it.
A terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU. Next is a big movie called The Authority. The Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU and will interact with all of our primary DCU characters. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes. We're doing a television series called Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is the story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island. The introduction of the DCU's Batman is The Brave and the Bold. The Brave and the Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne. This is
You're just going straight to Damian.
Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line, and so this is the story of the two of them and the beginning of sort of the Bat family in the DCU. Next up is a TV series called Booster Gold.
They are doing it, eh?
Popular cult heroes. He's a fascinating guy. He's a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him. It is basically the superhero story of imposter syndrome on an HBO Max series. One of my favorite comic book series from last year was Tom King's run on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And so we're going to turn that into a big science fiction epic film. Now,
really, a Supergirl movie?
And raised by loving parents. Whereas Supergirl in this story, she is a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way. So she's a much more jaded character.
Oh, didn't expect that.
Brings me to Swamp Thing, the last thing we're going to talk about.
Hey, cool.
Dark horror story in the origins of
I like that.
the monster who is Swamp Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the stories. Anyway, those are the stories that I can tell you about right now. I've loved the DC characters since I was a child. They're incredibly important to me. I knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something very different. One of the things that's very important for me in all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is always king. That's all that matters to us. And I want to be true to those stories. I want to be true to you guys and really give you something different than you've ever seen before. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you watching. I hope this was exciting for you because it's really exciting for me. And I can't wait to start to dive into these stories with you guys on this grand adventure. Thank you so much.
Okay, we got a lot to talk about. Well, that's a lot of information. I'm now going to go look at an article on Variety about each individual project so we can get started on that. And what I do want to say, whereas the DCU is now kickstarting with the Superman film and all these other projects that Gunn is working on, he also did say that there is going to be an Elseworlds, DC stories that take place in different universes. And it has now been officially confirmed that Robert Pattinson's Batman is going to be in his own universe. So I guess we can mark that off. Robert Pattinson will not be joining a wider DC universe. Now, only 2 movies have actual release dates right now, one being the new Superman film and 2 being the Batman film with Robert Pattinson, the second part. And both of those movies, I believe, are coming out in 2025. We got a little bit of a wait there. It's a little disappointing that we have to wait that long, but it is what it is. All right, so first we have Superman Legacy, which is dropping July 11th, 2025, and let's see what they had to say about this movie. It will mark the start of the DCU, but it will not be an origin story. It focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. He is the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way. He is kindness in a world that thinks of kindness as old-fashioned. Gunn is writing the project, and Safran said he hopes Gunn can be persuaded to perhaps direct it as well. Gunn, sitting right next to Safran, remained uncharacteristically poker-faced in response. I mean, I'm still holding on to that. I don't want James Gunn to be the director of the Superman movie, but now I'm feeling it is going to happen. Superman is for everyone, Gunn said. That's a 4-quadrant film that should speak to everyone in the world. A separate Superman movie produced by J.J. Abrams through Bad Robot and written by Ta-Nehisi Coates, hope I'm pronouncing that right, remains in development and would exist outside the DCU. Wow, so they're still doing that Black Superman movie, and it will take place in Elseworlds, so it has nothing to do with the DCU. To be honest with you, I thought they were going to want to crack down on Elseworld stories. I thought what they were going to do was maybe the Batman with Robert Pattinson and Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. They were just going to let those stories play out. And then when those stories were done, it would be DCU content only, but I guess they are okay with Elseworlds content. Now we have what he mentioned was the Authority. And I'll be honest here. Not a move I would make. This is not a movie that would take precedence in my DC universe, but let's see what they had to say. From global fame to relative obscurity, Superman Legacy will lead directly into The Authority, an ensemble movie about superhumans who have a less than idealistic approach to saving the world. As a comic, The Authority was created by Warren Ellis and Brian Hitch as an ends justify the means superhero team, an approach that appealed to Gunn and Safran's desire to diversify the storytelling within the DCU. It isn't just a story of heroes and villains, and not every movie and TV show is going to be about good guy versus bad guy. There are people that are very questionable, like The Authority, who basically believe that you can't fix the world in an easy manner, and they take things into their own hands. Gunn said the film is being written now. And I think that's why that decision is a little baffling to me. I was not expecting anything like this, especially the fact that it's a film. I did not think that would be a movie. I thought they would maybe make that a TV show. I understand diversifying DC and maybe doing things that make it a little bit different. I was just not expecting that one, and to be honest with you, I don't really know how I feel about it. Now, another heavy hitter, I knew we were getting a Batman project. I just didn't know what type of Batman project it would be. Well, it is a film, and it is The Brave and the Bold. It is going to be Batman and Robin, but interestingly enough, it's going to be his actual son, Damian Wayne. I find this very interesting. I thought they would have started with Dick Grayson's Robin, but they're jumping right to the fourth Robin. So now I got questions. Does this take place into a Batman's future where he's been Batman for a little while? Has he had multiple Robins already? Like, this is going to be quite interesting, and of course, we got to still wait for more details. Now, I got to be honest with you, I know he said that he's a huge Damian Wayne fan. I'm actually not. He's one of my least favorite Robins. My favorite Robin is Tim Drake, but outside of Tim Drake, I would have loved to see this start with Dick Grayson. So I'm not going to get overly excited about this film until we get more details. I think it is very good that in the DCU we're getting a Batman who's introducing the Bat family. That has been something that has lacked from the Batman character most recently in the past. There has been no word of Robins or Batgirls, and I think that is something that can change this DCU in a better light moving forward. Now, we also have a Supergirl movie coming out, and in this Supergirl film, she's gonna be a little more hardcore. Whereas Superman was raised on Earth by loving parents, this is a Supergirl who was raised on a chunk of Krypton where she saw everybody she loved die. Now, this is another one I find very interesting because this wouldn't have been a decision I would make. I'm a little surprised we're getting a Supergirl film. I did not think she would be one of the characters who should get a movie of her own. I'm a little surprised by this. If Supergirl was ever gonna get her own movie, maybe 3, 4, 5 years deep into the DCU, then she would get her own film. So I'm a little surprised that they're gonna be giving her a movie. I did not see that coming. And then finally for films, they have the Swamp Thing movie, which I will say, I love Swamp Thing. I think it's really cool he's getting his own movie. I just don't think I would have started the DCU with Swamp Thing getting his own film. I think it's really cool that it's going to be a horror style film and that it will still find ways to tie into the DCU. Overall, really interesting that he's getting his own movie so early on. Now, moving into the TV shows, the first one we got was the Creature Commandos, which is going to be an animated series, but he did admit that these characters can jump from animation to live action and will be played by the same people who voice act them. Once again, when I look at Creature Commandos, this is not a team or a group of characters that I would ever put precedence for my DCU. I would never use this group, and if I did, it would be super far into the future and they really wouldn't be that important. But when you look at a guy like James Gunn, of course a team like this is interesting to him. When you look at some of the stuff he does in Guardians of the Galaxy and Suicide Squad, you can only imagine he wants to do something with this team. Will I watch it? Yeah, probably. But am I excited for it? No, not really. Now we have the Waller show that James Gunn has been talking about for a while, and apparently this show is huge, it's fantastic, and it does a lot for the DCU based off of what I've been reading about it and how he explained it. And the Waller show will lead into the Superman film. Basically, the Waller show is going to be a show that opens the door for the new DCU, whereas the Superman film will actually kickstart the DCU. So I'm actually really looking forward to seeing what they decide to do with Waller. Now, the third TV show, which I gotta be honest with you, might be my favorite announcement of the day, is the Lantern TV show with Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. A true detective type show with two lanterns scouring the universe, and they come across something terrifying, which is eventually going to lead up to what the DCU is all about. That is pretty damn cool. If I were to be in charge of a DCU, I always wanted to make a Green Lantern movie or show with Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart teaming up with one another, and I absolutely love this. Now we have Paradise Lost, which is apparently going to be a prequel to the birth of Diana, and James Gunn has explained this to be almost like a Game of Thrones in Themyscira. The comic book series of Paradise Lost directly involved Wonder Woman, and I guess they're changing that up for the TV show. How Wonder Woman herself will make her appearance in this new DCU is unknown right now, but maybe this show will give some light on that. And then for the last TV show, we're getting a Booster Gold show, which is really interesting. I know that is a character a lot of people have wanted to see on screen for a long time. If this is happening, I can only assume that Blue Beetle is sticking around after his movie this year, considering Blue Beetle and Booster Gold are like best friends. Booster Gold would be a character that I'm interested in watching, and I'll be honest, it'll be interesting to see how a character like Booster Gold in live action translates to people like Superman and Batman. Now that we have the first set of projects from James Gunn, I mean, we got 10 projects, that's 5 more than I thought we were actually gonna get. What do I think of this slate so far? So far, I'm feeling 50-50. And I feel like that is understandable. I feel like we still need to see more of these projects. We just can't jump the gun and say, this is going to be terrible, this is going to be amazing. We do have to wait and see what some of these projects truly look like. Now, I know it sucks. We're probably going to have to wait a while, 2025, 2026, 2027. But by 2025, when we start getting some of these projects, that is when we will be able to truly judge what this universe is going to look like. There are choices he has made here that I absolutely wouldn't have made, and to be honest with you, it doesn't really excite me. I absolutely love and appreciate the fact that James Gunn seems very excited for this, and a lot of these projects that he's announced are passion projects of his and things that he thinks we are going to love to see on screen. And hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some of these projects I'm gonna end up being like, whoa, this was really damn good. But at first glance, some of these projects to me are kind of like, we'll have to see. I don't really have too much trust in it. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these end up being very mediocre, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they shocked me and ended up being really good. But anyways, everyone, that is my thoughts on this new DCU slate. Some of these have me excited, some not so much. For a universe that is supposed to heavily take place with the Trinity, Batman, Superman, and on Wonder Woman. There are some projects here that I am surprised they're moving forward with if they want to focus on the Trinity and the Justice League. But then again, I could be wrong, who knows? I'm sure as time goes on, I'm gonna have more thoughts about these projects and I'll have to make videos about them. But let me know in the comments below what you think of them yourself, and let me know which project you are most excited for. But that is it for this one, everyone. And until next time, I will talk to you all very soon.